What happens when a police chief's own son believes he's untouchable and assaults a 70-year-old Vietnam veteran in broad daylight? Derek Cole swaggered into Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom with a smirk, convinced that his father's badge was an impenetrable shield. But when Judge Caprio forced a choice between parental protection and justice, what followed would shake Providence to its core. The young man sneered at the bench. "My dad runs this city. You can't touch me, old man." Silence fell instantly, the kind of silence that made everyone hold their breath. Yet hidden in plain sight, Police Chief Thomas Cole watched from the back row, witnessing his son unravel decades of honor and respect he had built. What Thomas Cole was about to do would break hearts, restore faith in justice, and prove that some fathers value principles above family loyalty. It was a chilly November morning in Providence Municipal Court, and Judge Caprio, at 76, prepared for what seemed like a routine assault case. But something about this one set off alarm bells.
The victim, 70-year-old Robert Martinez, a decorated Vietnam veteran. The defendant, 32-year-old Derek Cole, son of the city's police chief. 3 days prior, Martinez had been walking his dog in Roger Williams Park when Derek, speeding recklessly in his BMW, nearly struck him. When Martinez signaled him to slow down, Derek slammed the car to a stop, leapt out, and shoved the elderly man to the pavement. Witnesses testified that Derek taunted him. "Do you know who I am? My dad's the police chief. Call the cops, I dare you." Then he drove off, leaving Martinez bleeding with a concussion, 3 broken ribs, and a fractured wrist. He spent 2 nights in Rhode Island Hospital. Security footage of the assault went viral, and the city erupted demanding justice.
The courtroom was packed. Reporters, concerned citizens, veteran advocates, and seasoned court watchers all filled every seat. An electric tension buzzed in the air, an unspoken anticipation that something extraordinary was about to unfold. What nobody yet knew was that Thomas Cole, in civilian clothing, was present in the gallery, silently witnessing the moment that would define his legacy. At exactly 10:30 a.m., the bailiff called the case. State of Rhode Island versus Derek Michael Cole, charged with assault and battery on an elderly person. Derek entered the room with an air of entitlement, wearing an expensive suit and designer watch, smirking as if the courtroom itself belonged to him.
He passed the row where Robert Martinez sat, his veteran's cap on, his broken wrist in a cast. Derek didn't even look at him. No recognition, no remorse, nothing. Judge Caprio looked up from his paperwork, his usually warm eyes sharpening into a cold, piercing stare. He had read the file, seen the security footage, and made his decision. "Mr. Cole," he began, measured yet firm, "you are charged with assault and battery on an elderly person, specifically on Mr. Robert Martinez, a 70-year-old Vietnam veteran. How do you plead?" Derek's lawyer jumped to his feet. "Your Honor, my client pleads not guilty. This is a case of mistaken identity." Judge Caprio raised a hand. "Counselor, I asked your client, Mr. Cole, do you have a voice?" Derek stood, adjusting his jacket, smirk intact, and declared, "Not guilty, Your Honor. This whole thing is ridiculous." The word echoed through the courtroom like a slap. Judge Caprio removed his glasses, his signature move signaling the gravity of what was about to follow. "Ridiculous," he repeated. "Mr. Cole, I have reviewed the footage, examined the hospital records, and seen the photographs of Mr. Martinez's injuries. Would you like to reconsider calling this ridiculous?" Derek glanced at his lawyer, who frantically mouthed, "Stop!" But ego's a stubborn thing. "With all due respect," Derek began, the courtroom instinctively knowing disrespect was coming, "this is being blown out of proportion. Some old guy got in my way. I barely touched him, and now I'm dragged into court like a criminal?" Gasps rippled through the room. Did he just call a Vietnam veteran some old guy? Did he just minimize the injuries of a man who spent nights in the hospital? Judge Caprio set his glasses down, jaw tightening. Anyone who has watched Caprio in Providence knows this look. It's the calm before a storm of justice. Mr. Cole, the judge said, voice steady but absolute, before we proceed, I need to understand something. Do you know who Mr. Martinez is? Derek shrugged. Some guy in my way. The disrespect was palpable. Martinez remained composed, a lifetime of service giving him quiet strength, while fellow veterans in the gallery seethed. Judge Caprio rose from the bench and moved to the front of the courtroom. This is a rare motion. It meant something monumental was about to happen.
Mr. Martinez, Judge Caprio said, fixing the elderly man with a steady gaze, please stand and tell Mr. Cole who you are. Slowly, supporting himself on his good arm, Martinez rose. Your Honor, my name is Robert Martinez. I served in the United States Marine Corps from 1968 to 1971. 2 tours in Vietnam. Purple Heart, Bronze Star, retired Providence firefighter. I have lived in this city for 50 years, and 3 days ago, he gestured to Derek without looking directly at him, this man assaulted me for no reason, simply because I asked him to slow down in a public park. The courtroom was silent. Judge Caprio nodded respectfully to Martinez as he returned to his seat. Turning back to Derek, the judge asked, do you understand what you just heard? You assaulted a decorated combat veteran, a man who risked his life for this country, who spent decades saving others, and you called him some old guy? Derek's smirk faltered, but didn't vanish. Your Honor, I didn't know he was a veteran. How was I supposed to know? Judge Caprio's reply was immediate, sharp, and devastating. It shouldn't matter. Assault is assault. The fact that you think it only matters if you knew his record tells me everything about your character.
Judge Caprio paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. Then, addressing the courtroom, he said something that would linger in the minds of everyone present. Before we move forward, I want you to think about respect, dignity, and the people who came before us. Tell me, how do we treat our elders? Have you ever witnessed someone being dismissed simply because of their age? Derek's lawyer jumped in, trying to contain the damage. Your Honor, my client misspoke. He's young. He made a poor choice of words. The evidence will— Evidence? Judge Caprio interrupted, his tone cold steel. Counselor, I've seen the evidence. Let's watch it together. The clerk cued the security footage. The courtroom watched in silence as Derek's BMW roared through the park, Martinez raising his hand to signal him, only to be shoved violently to the pavement. Derek towered over him, shouting, pointing, and then casually walking back to his car before driving off. The assault was unmistakable. The damage was undeniable. The arrogance was chilling. The video ended. Judge Caprio looked Derek in the eye. Still think this is ridiculous, Mr. Cole? Derek's face went pale. His lawyers whispered urgently in his ear, but pride and entitlement fought to hold him together. Your Honor, he stammered, I was having a bad day. I just received bad news. I wasn't thinking clearly. Judge Caprio's eyes narrowed. A bad day, Mr. Cole? I have presided over 30 years of human suffering. People who lost jobs, homes, children. Do you know what they don't do? Assault elderly veterans because they are having a bad day. He stepped closer, eliminating the space between them. Let me tell you what I see, Mr. Cole. You have spent your life believing you are untouchable. Your father's badge, his reputation, your family's influence, you thought they made you above the law. You walked into this courtroom expecting the same pattern to continue. Derek opened his mouth to interrupt. Judge Caprio held up a hand. I'm not finished. I have dealt with people like you before. Those who think their last name, their father's position, their money makes them untouchable. Let me tell you something. In my courtroom, none of that matters. Law matters. Justice matters. Treating every human being with dignity matters. Judge Caprio turned his gaze to the back of the room. Chief Cole, would you please come forward? A stir went through the courtroom. All eyes turned as Thomas Cole, police chief, stood slowly from the back row. He had witnessed every word, every slight, every display of arrogance. The look on his face was not rage, it was heartbreak. Derek spun around, disbelief washing over him. "Dad, what are you doing here?" Chief Cole walked the aisle slowly, the weight of 35 years in law enforcement in every step. Gray at the temples, dressed simply, no uniform, no badge, just a father watching his son unravel everything he had taught him.
Judge Caprio addressed him with respect. "Chief Cole, thank you for being here. I understand this must be difficult." "I appreciate the opportunity to be present, Your Honor." Chief Cole replied, standing at attention, his police training visible in every line of his posture. Derek's panic was palpable. His lawyer looked confused. The gallery leaned forward in anticipation. Judge Caprio continued, "Chief, your son seems to believe your position shields him from consequences. He has suggested multiple times that he is above the law. I want to give you the opportunity to address that belief." The courtroom held its breath. This was a moment of moral reckoning, the kind that defines a lifetime of service. Chief Cole inhaled deeply. His voice was steady, but his words carried the weight of decades.
"Your Honor," he said, "my son is wrong. He has always been wrong about that. I have served this city for 35 years. I have arrested murderers, drug dealers, corrupt officials. I put my life on the line to protect the innocent. Never, not once, have I believed my badge gives me or my family the right to break the law." Derek tried to speak. "Dad, The chief raised his hand and Derek fell silent immediately. "I saw the footage. I read the hospital reports. I know exactly what happened. I am here not as Police Chief Cole, but as Thomas Cole, a father who failed to teach his son the lessons that matter most: respect, humility, accountability. Somewhere along the way, I failed. And that failure," he gestured to Derek, "is right here." Derek's face crumbled. Tears welled in his eyes. "Dad, please." Chief Cole's voice softened, but his resolve did not falter. "Derek, I love you. You're my son, and that will never change. But love does not mean shielding you from the consequences of your actions. Love means holding you accountable so you can become the man you are meant to be." He turned back to Judge Caprio. "Your Honor, whatever sentence you impose, you have my full support. My son assaulted a decorated veteran. He showed no remorse. He disrespected this court. He disrespected everything I have stood for. He deserves the full weight of the law."
The courtroom erupted in whispers. A police chief publicly asking a judge to punish his own son? Derek wept openly. "Yesterday, I visited Mr. Martinez," Chief Cole continued, his voice firm. "I apologized on my son's behalf. He told me what my son needs is help, not protection. And he's right. Derek, you don't need a bailout. You need to face what you've done and change." Judge Caprio, visibly moved, nodded. "Chief Cole, thank you for your courage today. Choosing justice over parental instinct takes more strength than most will ever understand." He turned to Derek. "Mr. Cole, do you understand what just happened here? Your father could have used his influence to erase this. Instead, he chose the law. He chose Mr. Martinez. He chose integrity. That is what real courage looks like." Derek, still sobbing, could barely speak. Your Honor, I'm sorry. I was wrong." Judge Caprio nodded. "That is the first honest thing you've said in this courtroom. But sorry is not enough.
Actions have consequences, and today you will learn them.
Judge Caprio's voice carried across the silent courtroom. Derek Michael Cole, I find you guilty of assault and battery on an elderly person. This is a serious crime, made even more serious by your initial lack of remorse. Here is your sentence. He paused, letting each word settle like a hammer. You will serve 90 days in the Providence County Correctional Facility. You will complete 200 hours of community service, specifically assisting elderly veterans at the VA hospital. You will attend anger management counseling for 1 year. You will write a formal letter of apology to Mr. Martinez to be read aloud in this courtroom, followed by a personal meeting to apologize in person. Derek nodded, his face pale, accepting the weight of responsibility.
Your sentence does not end there, Judge Caprio continued. You will also record a public video apology to be shared on the Providence Police Department's social media, explaining your actions, why they were wrong, and what you were doing to make amends. Your father has agreed to this because transparency is the best antidote to arrogance. After completing your sentence, you will speak to Providence Police Academy recruits about privilege, accountability, and the consequences of thinking you are above the law. This is not intended to humiliate you, but to prevent others from making the same mistakes. Chief Cole then spoke, his voice heavy but steady. Your Honor, I would like to add that Derek will be moving out of my home. He is 32 years old. He has been living under my protection, under my name, and that ends today. He needs to stand on his own, support himself, and understand that privilege is earned, not inherited. Derek's face crumpled further. Dad? It's time, son, Chief Cole whispered, voice breaking. Time to grow up.
Judge Caprio turned to Robert Martinez. Mr. Martinez, would you like to say something? The 70-year-old veteran slowly rose, supporting himself with his good arm. Your Honor, I don't seek revenge. I want this young man to understand that every person deserves respect. Age, rank, position, it doesn't matter. We are all human, deserving dignity. If he learns that, then this ordeal will have been worth it. The courtroom went silent. Here was a man assaulted, hospitalized, and disrespected, offering forgiveness and wisdom instead of anger. Judge Caprio faced Derek one final time. Mr. Cole, you have witnessed grace beyond what you deserve. Spend your time in custody, thinking about the man you want to be, and whether you will continue to be the person who entered this courtroom or the person your father can be proud of. He brought down the gavel. Court was adjourned. As officers approached to take Derek into custody, Chief Cole stepped forward. Father and son stood face to face in a moment heavy with tension and emotion. Then the chief did something extraordinary. He hugged Derek tightly. I love you, he whispered so everyone nearby could hear. But I love you enough to let you face this. You will get through it. And when you do, you will be better. You'll be the man I know you can be. Derek sobbed into his father's shoulder. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry. I know, son. Now prove it, Chief Cole replied. Derek was led away, and Chief Cole remained, watching through tears as his son disappeared through the courtroom doors. This was real love, not shielding from consequences, but supporting growth through them. Judge Caprio approached the chief, extending a hand. The two men shook in mutual respect, men shaped by service and integrity. You did the right thing, Judge Caprio said quietly. Chief Cole nodded. It doesn't make it hurt any less. No, Judge Caprio agreed, but it makes it worth it.